He told me he was working late. I brought dinner to his office and saw them together on his couch. He barely blinked, just said, "She listens. You command." I emailed her husband the footage, then disappeared for a week. When I came back, the locks were changed, but my lawyer... I'm not sure when it started going wrong. Maybe a year before it happened. Maybe longer. We'd been married for 6 years. Together for 8. No kids. We talked about them. But something always came up. His work, my health, the economy. Excuses. Maybe that was the first warning sign. Everything became an excuse. His name is Drew. I met him when I was 26, bartending in Richmond, Virginia. He came in wearing a suit, looked out of place among the college kids. Polite. Smooth. Said he worked in real estate finance. I thought he was different. Smart. Ambitious. Focused. We moved fast. Engaged in under a year. Married the next spring. The first few years weren't bad. Not amazing either, but not bad. I worked in interior design part-time, helped flip a few of the properties he was working on. We felt like a team. Then his work got busier. He started coming home later. I didn't question it. He was building a business. I believed in that. I believed in him. Then things shifted. He started locking his phone, hiding receipts, saying he was at networking events or drinks with clients more than ever. I noticed, but I didn't want to start a fight every time. I've seen relationships fall apart from constant suspicion. I didn't want to become that woman. Until one night changed everything. It was a Wednesday. Rainy. Cold. I was home alone watching TV, waiting for him to come back from what he said was a late client meeting. I thought, screw it, I'll surprise him. I ordered dinner from his favorite Thai place, grabbed an umbrella, and drove out to his office around 8:30 p.m. The building was mostly dark except for a light coming from the window of his corner office. The door was unlocked. I walked in quietly, thinking I'd give him a sweet surprise. That's not what happened. His office door was slightly open. I heard voices. A soft laugh. A woman's voice. Then his. I pushed the door gently. There they were. Drew, sitting back on his office couch, shirt half open. Her, his assistant, Madison, straddling his lap, blouse unbuttoned, giggling. They both froze. She tried to cover up. He didn't. He just looked at me and said, "Dead serious. She listens. You command." Like that explained everything. Like I was the problem because I didn't obey him or something. I didn't speak. My hands were shaking, not from rage, but from something deeper. Numbness. I put the takeout bag down on the chair, turned around and walked out. I drove home in silence. Rain hitting the windshield like small hammers. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there in the dark kitchen for a long time, listening to the hum of the refrigerator. Then I remembered something. 3 months ago, there'd been a break-in in their building. Drew had asked me to help him pick a simple camera setup for his office, just for extra security. I set it up myself. I still had access. I logged in on my laptop. There it was, about 5 minutes of high-quality, no audio footage showing exactly what I saw. No ambiguity. No misunderstandings. I downloaded the clip. Then I found her husband on Facebook. He was tagged in one of her birthday pictures. Looked like a decent guy. Works for the city, from what I could tell. I tracked down his work email. Subject: thought you should see this. No message. Just the video file. I turned off my phone, packed a bag, and drove out of Richmond. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. For the next week, I stayed in a small Airbnb in Asheville, North Carolina. Hiked. Drank wine. Read books. Ignored calls and texts. Cleared my head. Let the silence do its job. When I came back a week later, I couldn't get into the house. The locks were changed. I tried the front, the back, even the garage keypad. Nothing worked. That's when I saw Mrs. Jenkins, our neighbor. She was watering her plants. "He said you moved out," she said, looking confused. I just nodded. Guess I did. I checked into a hotel that night. The next morning, I went straight to my lawyer, Trisha. She'd been my contact since the day I left Richmond. I had already sent her everything, photos, screenshots, the footage, even a copy of the email to Madison's husband. "This is war," she said. "He changed the locks on a home that's legally yours. Let's start with a lockout notice and go from there." We filed for divorce the same day. Trisha didn't waste time. She got a judge to grant me temporary access to the house within 48 hours. I had a sheriff escort me when I went back. Drew wasn't there. I walked through that house like I was walking through a graveyard. Everything felt cold. The couch where we used to sit. The kitchen where we laughed. All poison now. I took photos. Made notes. Packed some essentials, and left again. I didn't want to sleep in that place anymore. After I got the court order and collected some of my things, I stayed in a rental on the west side of Richmond. It was small and smelled like old carpet, but it was mine. I could breathe there. About 3 days after the sheriff helped me back into the house, Drew started blowing up my phone. First texts, then voicemails. Most of them sounded pissed off. "You made your point," he wrote in one. "But now you're just being petty." Another said, "You went nuclear over one mistake." Then came the email. The subject line was, "Let's be civil." But the message was anything but. He accused me of humiliating him. Said people at work were talking. That I'd dragged our marriage through the mud. He called me bitter. Said Madison had nothing to do with it, that I just wanted a reason to leave. I didn't reply. A week later, Trisha called me. "You're not going to believe this," she said. "He's trying to file a motion claiming infidelity on your end." I laughed. "On what grounds?" "Something about you running off with someone for a week. He's saying your disappearance was suspicious." That was his angle. He couldn't own up to what he did, so he flipped it. Tried to spin it like I had someone else. It was pathetic. I gave Trisha the Airbnb receipt, the guest log, the signed note from the host. It was rock solid. That didn't stop Drew. He doubled down. Started dragging mutual friends into it. Spreading rumors that I had a breakdown. That I was unstable. That I'd always been controlling. One of his friends, Matt, texted me. "I don't know what's going on between you two, but Drew's making you sound like a total psycho." I wrote back, "Tell him to send you the footage." I'm sure he kept a copy. Matt never replied. About 2 weeks later, I got a message on Facebook from a woman named Haley. She was Madison's older sister. "I don't know you," she wrote, "but I saw what happened. I wanted you to know, this isn't the first marriage she's messed with." We talked. Turns out, Madison had a reputation. 2 previous bosses. One of them left his wife, the other nearly lost his business. She knew how to get what she wanted and didn't care who she destroyed to get it. But Haley said something else. "She's pregnant," she said. "She told her mom a week ago. Said it's Drew's." That hit like a punch. I didn't want kids with him. Not anymore. But knowing he might be having one with her, that did something to me. I forwarded the message to Trisha. "This changes things," she said. "Big time." Because if Madison was pregnant and Drew was serious about her, it would affect how assets were divided. If he was going to be a father, he might try to push for more financial stability, aka more of my share. I wasn't going to let that happen. We dug deeper. Found records. Calls. Emails. Trisha subpoenaed messages from his work phone. What we found showed a full-blown affair that had been going on for over a year. Dates. Hotel stays. Payments to Madison's personal Venmo labeled consulting or bonus. It wasn't just cheating. It was financial deception too. Company money, possibly. That meant legal trouble, not just divorce court. Meanwhile, I stayed quiet. Let him rant. Let him post pictures with Madison. One of them was from a doctor's office. Her in a chair, hand on her belly. Him standing next to her, smiling like a proud dad. The caption said, "New beginnings." I wanted to scream, but I didn't. Instead, I had Trisha file a formal notice with the court demanding an audit of Drew's business finances as part of the divorce. We argued he had commingled assets and that Madison may have benefited. That's when he snapped. I got an anonymous text. "You're going to regret this." Then a dead rat showed up at my door. I called the cops. Filed a report. Didn't say anything online. Didn't post a thing. Just documented it all. Trisha filed for a protective order the next day. A week after I filed the police report, something strange happened. I got a call from a man named Tom. He said he used to work with Drew. Not just work with him, he was one of Drew's early investors. Helped him launch the first property deal when he was barely out of grad school. "I've been hearing your name a lot," Tom said. "I need to show you something." We met at a diner on the edge of town. I brought Trisha with me, just in case. Tom was in his 50s, calm but tense, like someone carrying around a secret for too long. He slid a folder across the table. "Drew's been using more than company funds to float that little affair of his," he said. "Some of it came from me. He claimed it was for a high-yield flip in Fredericksburg. Never happened." Inside the folder were wire transfers, fake invoices, even doctored contracts. It was bad. And it looked like Drew had been running more than one con. "He's bleeding investors dry," Tom said. "And if Madison's in on it, they've got bigger problems than just you." Trisha took photos, then looked Tom dead in the eye. "Are you willing to testify if this goes to court?" Tom nodded. "He burned me. I'm not going down with him." That changed everything. We no longer just had a divorce case. We had evidence of fraud, possible embezzlement, and financial abuse. The next day, Trisha filed an emergency injunction to freeze certain shared accounts. Drew responded by trying to drain others. He was panicking. Then Madison's husband, ex-husband now, got involved. His name was Tyler. Quiet guy, looked like he worked with his hands. He emailed Trisha asking for help. He'd filed for divorce as soon as he got the footage I sent, and now Madison was threatening him for spousal support, even though she was the one who cheated. "She says Drew's going to take care of everything," Tyler wrote. "But if he goes down, I think she'll turn on him." The Met talked for hours. Turns out, Tyler had found a journal. Madison's journal. Full of notes about her plan, ways to get Drew to leave me, things she wrote about how easy men are when they're desperate. He gave it to us. That journal tore open the whole thing. It proved manipulation. It showed Madison knew exactly what she was doing. Then came the kicker. A friend of Drew's, one of the few still talking to him, leaked a voicemail to me. Drew was drunk, slurring, angry. "She's going to F*** ing bury me," he said. "I swear to God, if I go down, I'm taking everyone with me. Even her." He meant Madison. That was the first time I felt something close to satisfaction. He was unraveling. All the power he once held, his charm, his money, his lies, was slipping. But it wasn't over yet. Madison was still pregnant. At least, that's what she said. But something felt off. A week later, I got an anonymous tip from someone claiming to be her former roommate. They said Madison had pulled this pregnancy trick before. Twice. Said she'd used it to get money, secure relationships, even avoid getting fired once. We started digging. There was no record of her seeing a real OB/GYN. Just one urgent care visit. No official labs. No ultrasound images, just photos of her belly. It was a lie. She wasn't pregnant. And when Drew found out, when he figured it out, everything fell apart for them. Drew found out Madison was faking the pregnancy 2 days before our final divorce hearing. He didn't show up to court. His lawyer came alone, looking pale and rattled. Trisha leaned over to whisper, "Something happened." That same morning, I got a call from Tyler. "Turn on the news." There was a fire. A 2-story home in the west end of Richmond, Drew's rental after I'd kicked him out. Madison was in the hospital. Smoke inhalation. Not life-threatening. Drew was gone. They found him in the garage. Carbon monoxide poisoning. A hose taped to the exhaust. But it wasn't just suicide. The investigation found his laptop, open on the workbench, with a note typed out on the screen. It was a confession. He admitted to the fraud. The stolen investor money. The fake invoices. He even confessed to Madison's lies, said he believed her, gave her everything, and she used him. He called me cold in that note. Said I never showed love unless I got my way. That I commanded the marriage and made him feel small. Reading that, I didn't feel proud or vindicated. I just felt empty. Because he was right about one thing. I did pull away. I did treat our marriage like a contract sometimes. I wasn't warm. I wasn't soft. Maybe I couldn't be, not after years of holding everything together while he played the ambitious businessman. But I didn't cheat. I didn't lie. I didn't ruin lives. Still, I made mistakes. I ignored red flags. I built a life around someone who needed praise more than love. And when it broke, I went for blood. The media picked up the story. Real estate star's downfall, scandal, lies, and a final confession. It spread like wildfire. Investors came forward. Lawsuits followed. Trisha helped me protect what I could, but it was messy. The house was sold. The company dissolved. I walked away with less than I expected, but more than nothing. Madison survived. She tried to play the victim in the press, but it didn't stick. People knew. Tyler leaked the journal. Her reputation tanked. She moved out of state, last I heard. I stayed in Richmond. I went back to interior design, working for a small firm, quietly. I stopped dating. Spent time with my sister. Started therapy. It's not dramatic, but it's honest. One day, a letter arrived. No return address. Inside was a photo. Me and Drew, from our wedding day. Smiling. Young. Hopeful. On the back, just 4 words. I never hated you. I sat at my kitchen table for a long time, staring at that picture. Then I put it in a drawer and closed it. That's where it belongs now. In the past.